Nothing cuts quite like finding out someone's been talking behind your back. Gossip is a quiet kind of betrayal. It hides in hushed tones, fake smiles, and sideways glances. And what makes it worse? It's not always your enemies. Sometimes it's your friends, your co-workers, even your own family. That sting you feel, it's valid. The urge to defend yourself, to fire back, to clear your name, totally human. But here's where the Stoics flipped the script. They saw gossip for what it really is. Background noise, a test of your self-control, a trap for your ego. They knew that reacting emotionally only gives gossip more power. What you need isn't revenge, it's restraint. Not silence out of weakness, but silence that comes from strength. In this episode, we're diving into 6 Stoic strategies for handling people who gossip behind your back. These aren't just theories, they're real tools to help you stay focused, stay grounded, and walk through the noise without losing your center, because your peace isn't up for negotiation. If you've ever been hurt by someone's words, this one's for you. You have a story. Drop it in the comments. We read everyone. If this speaks to you, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe for more unfiltered wisdom every week. Nothing cuts quite like finding out someone's been talking behind your back. Gossip is a quiet kind of betrayal. It hides in hushed tones, fake smiles, and sideways glances. And what makes it worse? It's not always your enemies. Sometimes it's your friends, your co-workers, even your own family. That sting you feel, it's valid. The urge to defend yourself, to fire back, to clear your name, totally human. But here's where the Stoics flipped the script. They saw gossip for what it really is. Background noise, a test of your self-control, a trap for your ego. They knew that reacting emotionally only gives gossip more power. What you need isn't revenge, it's restraint. Not silence out of weakness, but silence that comes from strength. In this episode, we're diving into 6 Stoic strategies for handling people who gossip behind your back. These aren't just theories, they're real tools to help you stay focused, stay grounded, and walk through the noise without losing your center, because your peace isn't up for negotiation. If you've ever been hurt by someone's words, this one's for you. You have a story. Drop it in the comments. We read everyone. If this speaks to you, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe for more unfiltered wisdom every week. 2. Don't chase. Every rumor, stay above the fray. One of the most brutal tests of your character is when you hear your name being twisted in places you've never even stepped into. You catch wind of something someone said, half true, half made up, completely off the mark, and every instinct in your body screams, clear your name, set the record straight, explain yourself. It feels like the only way to take back control. But here's the hard truth the Stoics understood. Chasing every rumor is a trap. It pulls you into a game you didn't ask to play and can never really win. The more you try to fix the narrative, the more you signal that it bothers you. The more you react, the more fuel you give to the people spreading it. This is where Stoic discipline demands silence. Not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough to stay above it. Marcus Aurelius, who dealt with politics, betrayal, and slander at the highest levels of power, wrote that the best revenge is to be nothing like the one who wronged you. That's not passivity, that's power. When someone talks about you behind your back, they're trying to provoke a reaction. They want you to flinch, they want control over your emotional state. But when you don't take the bait, when you stay calm, focused, and present, they lose that control. You stay in command of yourself. Imagine someone going around your workplace or social circle saying you're difficult to work with. The gossip spreads. People start acting a little colder, or maybe they whisper when you walk in. The temptation is to confront it head-on, to ask who said what, to try to change their minds. But what does that really accomplish? Maybe you find out, maybe you defend yourself, maybe you even win the argument. But at what cost? Your energy, your peace, your focus? A Stoic response would be to let your actions speak. Continue doing your work well. Continue treating people with respect. Over time, the truth rises. The lie dies in silence. So the next time you hear something's been said about you, ask yourself, is this worth stepping into? Will it help or just drag me down? If the answer is no, then do what the Stoics did. Rise above. Say nothing. Do more. Keep moving. Let your work speak where words would only add noise. Let your calm be your protest. And when the dust settles and the lies fade, what remains is your integrity, undisturbed, unshaken. That's the kind of resilience Stoicism builds. But sometimes silence isn't about ignoring everything. Sometimes it's about listening carefully, because hidden in the noise is a sliver of truth that could help you grow. That's where we're headed next, how to sift through the mess and see if there's anything useful hidden inside. If you've found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. 3. Examine if there's any truth you can use. This part is the hardest. It's not flashy. It doesn't come with a satisfying comeback or a bold display of restraint. It requires something deeper. Honesty with yourself. Gossip, as toxic and twisted as it often is, sometimes carries a grain of truth buried inside all the exaggeration. And that's the part most people don't want to face. The Stoics, however, weren't interested in feeling good. They were interested in being better. Seneca wrote that even insults, when stripped of their malice, can be useful. Not because they're fair, but because they can expose something you've been avoiding. The challenge is being strong enough to sift through the venom and extract the lesson without getting poisoned by the rest. It takes a steady mind to do this. Let's say there's gossip going around that you're arrogant. At first you feel insulted. You know you've worked hard. You've earned your position. You've carried yourself with pride, not arrogance, or so you thought. But after the sting fades, you sit with it. You replay a few moments in your head. You remember interrupting someone in a meeting. You recall brushing off a suggestion from a team member without really listening. Suddenly, the label arrogant starts to look less like an attack and more like a warning sign. Not the whole picture, but maybe a shadow of something real. That's where growth begins. Stoicism doesn't ask you to blindly accept every rumor as fact. It asks you to do the harder thing, investigate yourself honestly, not out of guilt, but out of a relentless commitment to self-improvement. The Stoic doesn't spiral into shame or self-doubt. They don't deny or defend out of pride. They pause, observe, and ask, is there something here I need to work on? And if the answer is yes, they take action, quietly, privately, and with discipline. No drama, no defense, just development. The key is to see gossip not as a threat to your identity, but as an opportunity to test it. That's what Stoicism offers, a practical, grounded way to use even the worst experiences as fuel for becoming better. You don't need to respond to lies, but you do need to listen if those lies echo a flaw you've been ignoring. That's maturity, that's wisdom, and that's rare. Look at someone like Rachel, a mid-level manager who started hearing whispers that her team found her hard to approach. At first, she brushed it off as office politics. She'd always considered herself direct, efficient, no nonsense. But something about the gossip kept bothering her. Not the tone, but the frequency. So instead of confronting her team or defending her leadership style, she stepped back. She reviewed her last few one-on-ones. She remembered how rushed she'd been, how she'd checked her phone mid-conversation, how she'd snapped at an intern when a report came in late. And it hit her. She had been shutting people out, not because she was cruel, but because she was overwhelmed and unaware. That realization didn't feel good, but it changed everything. She made adjustments, not because someone gossiped, but because there was truth worth facing. That's the point. Use gossip. Don't be used by it. Let it sharpen you. Let it humble you. Let it reveal the parts of you that need attention. That's how Stoicism turns even the ugliest human behavior into a tool for personal clarity. Not everything people say about you is true, but the discipline is in being willing to look anyway. It's not about pleasing others. It's about making sure your own behavior aligns with your values, whether anyone's watching or not. And once you've done that self-check, once you've extracted whatever insight was buried in the mess, you move forward, stronger, cleaner, quieter. Now it's time to focus on something even more crucial. Learning to separate what you can control from what you can't. Because no matter how strong your mindset is, if you don't master that division, you'll keep wasting energy on things that were never yours to fix. Let's talk about that next. Fourth, focus on your circle of control. There comes a point in every experience with gossip where frustration turns into obsession. You start replaying every conversation, analyzing every interaction, wondering how you ended up as the subject of someone else's version of your life. It's exhausting. You want to fix it. You want to control the story. But here's the reality: you can't. You cannot control who talks about you. You can't stop what they say or how others interpret it. And the more energy you waste trying to manage other people's opinions, the further you drift from your own power. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself again and again, the only thing truly within your control is your own mind, your thoughts, your behavior, your response. That's it. Everything else is noise. When gossip hits, the reaction most people have is defensive. You start thinking about how to explain yourself, how to correct the lies, how to rebuild your image. But that only traps you in someone else's game. Stoicism teaches you to shift the focus inward. Instead of asking, how do I stop them from talking? You ask, how do I keep living with integrity regardless of what they say? That's where the strength is. Because once you realize you're only responsible for your character, not your reputation, your entire mindset changes. Let's say you're working in a competitive office, and rumors start circulating that you're trying to take credit for a colleague's success. You know it's false. You know you've worked hard, and you've given credit where it's due. The instinct is to confront the rumor head-on, maybe call a meeting, maybe send an email defending yourself. But the more you try to put out fires, the more you signal that you're burning. The Stoic response is to refocus on what is within your power. Keep doing your job well, support your team, be consistent, show up. Over time, people will see the truth, not because you shouted it, but because you lived it. That's what it means to operate inside your circle of control. It's not about giving up or becoming passive. It's about becoming strategically focused. You double down on your values. You invest in your work ethic. You pay attention to the kind of people you allow close to you, people who are direct, not deceptive. The Stoic knows that actions speak longer and louder than words. Over time, a person who lives with steady integrity builds something no rumor can shake: credibility. And here's the deeper truth. When you're truly grounded in your values, gossip loses its grip on you. You stop needing to control the narrative because you're too busy controlling the one thing that actually matters: your conduct. Let people talk. Let them speculate. You focus on being excellent at what you do. You build habits that align with your principles. That kind of consistency becomes a quiet, unshakable force. And while others are busy whispering, you're too busy building to hear them. This isn't easy. It takes discipline to walk away from the urge to defend yourself. It takes self-respect to choose silence over spectacle. But this is the essence of Stoic strength: owning your side of the street, regardless of the chaos around you. And the longer you stay grounded, the more the noise fades. Eventually, people notice. They always do. Not because you tried to convince them, but because the truth has a longer life than gossip ever will. Still, even when you stay grounded, there's something else you'll need: tolerance. Because no matter how carefully you live, no matter how honest or disciplined you are, you will be misunderstood. It's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. And if you're not prepared for that, it'll break you. That's what we're going to explore next: how to build your tolerance for being misunderstood and why it might be the strongest muscle you ever develop. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. 5. Strengthen your tolerance for misunderstanding. One of the hardest pills to swallow in life and in Stoicism is this: no matter how honest, thoughtful, or clear you are, some people will still get you wrong. They'll twist your words, assume your motives, question your intentions. And the more you stand out, the more you challenge norms, the more visible you become, the easier it is for others to project their own issues onto you. That's the gut punch. You could be doing everything right and still be cast as the villain in someone else's version of events. Stoicism doesn't sugarcoat this reality. It tells you to expect it, and more importantly, to train for it. This kind of misunderstanding hits especially hard when you're trying to live with purpose. Maybe you've made bold decisions in your career. Maybe you've changed your lifestyle, set stricter boundaries, or stopped tolerating toxic behavior. Suddenly you're difficult or arrogant or cold. The truth is, you just stopped being easy to manipulate. But the story they tell about you rarely matches the reality. And the more you try to correct them, the deeper you sink into a battle for approval that Stoicism says you never needed to fight in the first place. The Stoics believed that your peace should never depend on being understood. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek applause, he sought alignment with his values. Epictetus taught that if your conscience is clear, that's enough. And that's the mindset you need when gossip and false impressions start to follow you. If you waste your energy chasing clarity in every direction, trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you end up drained and still misjudged. The smarter move is to build your tolerance. Accept that not everyone will see your heart. Not everyone is supposed to. Your job isn't to be liked. Your job is to be aligned with your principles, your truth, and your purpose. But Stoicism doesn't just leave you here. It offers one more solution, one final powerful force that always wins in the end. It's not louder arguments. It's not clever comebacks. It's something much quieter, but far more enduring: time and character. That's where we're headed next. How your consistent behavior over time becomes the loudest and most undeniable truth of all. This isn't easy. It takes discipline to walk away from the urge to defend yourself. It takes self-respect to choose silence over spectacle. But this is the essence of Stoic strength: owning your side of the street, regardless of the chaos around you. And the longer you stay grounded, the more the noise fades. Eventually, people notice. They always do. Not because you tried to convince them, but because the truth has a longer life than gossip ever will. Still, even when you stay grounded, there's something else you'll need: tolerance. Because no matter how carefully you live, no matter how honest or disciplined you are, you will be misunderstood. It's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. And if you're not prepared for that, it'll break you. That's what we're going to explore next: how to build your tolerance for being misunderstood and why it might be the strongest muscle you ever develop. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. 6. Let time and character dismantle the lies. There's a moment after all the noise dies down when you realize something simple but powerful. Gossip is temporary, but who you are is permanent. Lies echo for a while, but they don't have staying power, not when they're stacked against the evidence of your character. The Stoics knew this well. They didn't believe in chasing down every false word. They believed in living in such a way that time would do the work for them. Because time reveals everything. People can fake charm, They can fake competence, but they can't fake consistency. And that's what destroys rumors. Not rage, not rebuttals, consistency. Take Michael, for example. He was a project manager who took over a struggling team and, over time, turned it around with structure, honesty, and accountability. But early on, the resistance was brutal. Some on his team didn't like his direct style. He didn't sugarcoat things. He didn't play office politics. Whispers started that he was power-hungry, too harsh, difficult to work with. Those rumors spread fast, and for a while they stuck. But Michael didn't change his approach to win people over. He stayed steady. He kept showing up. He gave credit where it was due, held people to high standards, and always owned his mistakes. Over time, performance improved, trust deepened, and the truth surfaced. Not because he defended himself, but because he proved himself, day after day. The gossip faded. His reputation didn't just recover, it solidified. This is the Stoic way. You don't respond to lies with words. You respond with behavior. The people who matter will pay attention, not to the rumors, but to the evidence. And the people who never took the time to know you, they're not your audience. Let them go. You owe them nothing. The Stoics never believed in begging to be believed. They lived in a way that made lies unsustainable. When you carry yourself with discipline, integrity, and quiet confidence, falsehoods collapse under their own weight. The gap between gossip and reality becomes too obvious to ignore. It's not easy to wait. It's not easy to trust that your character will speak louder than someone else's narrative. But that's what separates strength from insecurity. The insecure scramble to control the story. The strong let the truth unfold. That's why Stoicism still matters today. It doesn't promise justice in the moment. It promises clarity over time. It teaches you to zoom out, to stop panicking over the present distortion and invest in the long arc of your life. Because character isn't just what protects you, it's what outlasts everything else. So if you're in the middle of it right now, being talked about, doubted, misrepresented, hold the line. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Don't perform. Don't explain. Just live in a way that builds a foundation no rumor can shake. People will forget what they heard, but they won't forget how you made them feel when you stayed calm, steady, and real through it all. And that's the final Stoic move. You don't fight fire with fire. You fight it with patience, purpose, and proof. Let your life do the talking. That's how you dismantle lies. Not with noise, but with time. If you've ever been talked about, judged unfairly, or dragged into drama you didn't create, know this: you're not alone, and you don't have to shrink because of it. Every whisper behind your back is a chance to stand taller, not smaller. Stoicism isn't about pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about choosing peace over pettiness, clarity over chaos. So let them talk. You've got better things to do. Building focus, lead, and let your actions make the noise they'll never silence. If something in this hit you, if it reminded you of your own battles, your quiet strength, your decision to rise instead of react, drop a comment. I want to hear your story. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Smash that like button if you're done letting gossip control your energy. And subscribe for more straight-up wisdom. No fluff, no filters, just real tools for living strong in a loud world. This is your reminder. You don't need to clap back. You just need to keep showing up. With focus, with grace, with unshakable character. That's how you win. I'll see you in the next one.